what's up y'all, this is Charlie. On today's episode I'm going to be showing y'all how to make my delicious beef and broccoli oriental noodle soup. Now this is a Chinese inspired dish. It consists of pieces of beef chuck roast that has been cut thin and some of the fat has been removed as well. It has vegetables in it like broccoli, cabbage, carrots, and in addition to that we add egg noodles to it, which is a staple in Chinese cuisine. And I cook that in stages in a beef broth until it's nice and tender. And there you have it. A wonderful, delicious tasting soup that you're gonna love. Now this is a great fall or winter dish. Kind of a comfort food, so to speak. This recipe calls for about 8 to 10 servings and it is absolutely delicious. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, here's all you'll need to make your homemade beef and broccoli oriental noodle soup. Let's get started with our ingredients. You'll need 2.5 pounds of beef chuck roast, and for your vegetables you'll need some cabbage, broccoli, and some carrots. You will also need some better than bouillon beef base, rice cooking wine. Now if you don't have this, you can use white or red wine. You will also need some soy sauce, sesame seed oil, and for your seasonings you'll need some salt, black pepper, Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning, and for your additional seasonings you'll need 1 yellow onion, some green onion, some celery, garlic, some ginger, and for our last ingredient you will need some fine egg noodles. And there we have it. Alright, let's get straight to it. So I'm going to go ahead and chop up 1/2 of a yellow onion. Alright, now here I have some green onions. I'm going to just start by chopping it up from the end and just make my way forward. Now I'm going to go ahead and rinse off my celery. Just a little bit of celery I have here. And just rinse that off right fast. And as for the celery, I'm going to just take some of the stalk of the celery and I'm going to just cut it into small pieces. Alright, here I have 2 cloves of garlic cut in half. Now I'm going to chop the garlic up until it is minced. Alright, here I have some ginger. I'm going to just take a potato peeler and just peel some of the skin off the ginger. I'm going to need a very small amount of this. Yep. There we go, we just need about that much. It's a very small amount, like I said. Chop that up. Alright, here I have a head of cabbage. Now, I'm not going to be using the whole thing, just part of it. Cut a portion of this off. About 10 ounces. A little over 1/2 pound will do. Now, I'm going to just chop this up into small strips. Just like this. And from there, you could just separate it. And if you want to use more cabbage, you can do so. Right here I have some broccoli. Now I'm going to just take my knife and I'm just going to cut the stem off. And separate the stem from the broccoli. You need about 1 head of broccoli, that's all. You don't need that much. Now some of these bigger pieces, you could just take them and cut them in half. You're going to need about 6 to 8 ounces of broccoli. That's minus the container because the container is 1 ounce. Alright, and as for the carrots, I'm going to just cut these into strips. I'm going to start right here. Just take those halves and just cut them into strips. It's a little too thick. Alright, now I cut about 2 of the carrots. And I'm going to just take them now and just cut them like that. And there we go. Right, I'm going to add my cabbage into this mesh strainer here. And I'm going to rinse it off with cold water. You know, make sure you rinse it off good because cabbage tends to have a lot of dirt, you know. And I'm gonna add my broccoli pieces. And I'm gonna rinse the broccoli off with cold water. Now I'm gonna add my carrots on in there. And I'm gonna just rinse that off with cold water. Now I'm gonna add the beef chuck roast into this strainer. And I'm gonna rinse it off with cold water. All right, here we have the beef chuck roast. Now I'm gonna take my knife and I'm gonna just cut this on a slant. Like that. Now you can cut this however way you want to. Now if the beef has any type of excessive fat or anything like that, this is optional. Just go ahead and just trim that off. That way it'll be, your soup will be less oily. And some of the larger pieces like this, you could just take your knife and just cut those in half like that. All right, let's get started with the beef base mixture. So in this large bowl, I have 3 1/2 quarts of hot water. And to that, I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of the Better Than Bouillon beef base. And to that, I'm gonna add 1/3 cup of the rice cooking wine and 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. I take my whisk and I'm just gonna stir this until the beef base has dissolved into the hot water. And that is it for our preparation. Here we have our beef and our seasonings and our vegetables and our stock prepared and ready to go. Now let's get started with making our beef oriental noodle soup. Preheat your fire to medium heat. All right, so in this large pot, I'm gonna add about 1 tablespoon of sesame seed oil. Spread this around. I'm gonna let this get hot for about 30 seconds. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and add about 1 cup of the chopped yellow onion, 2/3 cup of chopped celery, 1/2 cup of the green onion. That's about it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and give this a quick stir. Let this saute for about 7 minutes, stirring occasionally. Add your beef strips. Add a little bit of seasoning. I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, and about 1 teaspoon of tony saturated Creole seasoning. Now I'm gonna go ahead and give this a quick stir. Now you're gonna let this simmer for about 4 minutes, stirring occasionally. All right, since I have a little bit more green onion left, I'm gonna just add the rest of that in there. And to that, I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of chopped garlic and about 1 teaspoon of ginger. Now I'm gonna just go ahead and give this a quick stir. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and add my beef base mixture and just pour that right on in there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and give this a quick stir. Now I'm gonna go ahead and cover this. Now I'm gonna let this simmer for 1 hour and 20 minutes. Preheat your fire to medium heat. All right, now about 20 minutes before our cooking time ends for the beef tips with the beef base mixture, we're gonna do this while that's cooking. So in this large saucepan, I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of sesame seed oil. I'm gonna just spread that around. I'm gonna let this get hot for about 30 seconds. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add the broccoli, the carrots, and I'm gonna just give this a quick stir. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add the cabbage. And I'm gonna just carefully give this a stir. Now I'm gonna cover this. Let this saute for about 6 minutes, stirring occasionally. Turn your fire off. Right, it's been about 6 minutes now. Just want to cook this down a little bit. It's a little brown, but that's pretty good. We just wanna. It's been about 1 hour and 20 minutes now. I'm gonna add my broccoli, carrots, and cabbage mixture right on in there. And to that, I'm gonna add 3 ounces of the egg noodles. It's about 3 ounces in weight. And I'm gonna just give this a quick stir. Now you can add as much as you like. Now I'm gonna cover this. And I'm gonna let this simmer for about 4 to 6 minutes, stirring occasionally. All right, it's been about 4 minutes now. And the beef and broccoli oriental soup is done. Look at that. It's beautiful. And make sure you test the noodles to make sure that they're cooked. They should be, because it's extremely thin. So turn your fire off. Now for some quick tips regarding this soup. As a last final garnish, you can add some soy sauce, just a little bit of soy sauce, not too much. Or if not, you could serve it individually. If you're having a couple of guests, you could add some in a bowl and just ask your guests if they want to add some soy sauce. They could do that, all right? As for me, I'm gonna add a little touch of soy sauce, just a little bit. Be careful, because it's already concentrated. And also, you can also add some of the rice cooking wine too at this time as well, just a little bit. Now you're gonna let this cool for about an hour before serving, so that way the flavors can settle and increase. Now, for best results, you can serve this the very next day. So that way, once you let it cool off, you put it in the refrigerator and serve it, and heat it up again and serve it the next day. The flavors will settle and increase overnight, and then the vegetables that we added in that, and even including the egg noodles, are going to absorb all of the flavors of all the seasonings and the liquid mixtures that we added in here. So that way it'll be much better tasting the very next day. Now it's time to go ahead and take a bite. I already had so many bowls of this already. Now it looks like I'm gonna have a whole nother bowl now. Oh. One second. Oh, it has a really nice beef flavor. It's well balanced. You can taste all the flavors from all the vegetables. They're nice and tender, and the beef is tender as well. And also the egg noodles kind of thickens it just slightly. And plus, at the same time, I serve this the very next day, so that way the flavors can go into the vegetables and those egg noodles as well. It's really, really good. Overall rating, 5 table bangs from me. Oh, it's delicious. So, give the recipe a try. Hey y'all, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like my channel, hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell button if you want to be notified of my videos. Now I have an official website for all of my recipes, including this fabulous beef and broccoli oriental noodle soup recipe. You can go to www.charliethecookandrews.com. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter under the name Charlie the Cook Andrews. So until next time, take care, and I hope you all have a great day. Peace.